Hello everyone, my name is Tony Sullivan, and welcome to my project Mad Scientist Insurance. I know, kind of a crazy name, right? But with this particular software Reolution has and Cartoon Animator 4 Pro, you can do just about anything. So in my project, I love science, by the way, and if you couldn't tell by now, if you take a look at this beginning shot here that I have here, this is the very beginning. So what I look for is, number one, great characters. And Gary Pye makes some fantastic characters. And so that's the basis, number one. Number two is a good background. So if you take a look as I'm scrolling through here, you'll see the robot walking through. And you'll see the security guard going on the other side. Now, what I do is, if you go up to the top here, you go to your 3D view, right? And then you go to your camera rotation, and I'm just going to move this around here. You see, you get a chance to see the transparency. Now, why is this important? It's very important because what you're doing is you're making sure that your cartoon character is not walking through anything. That's one of the worst things you want to do when you finish production. All of a sudden you find out that something is colliding with something else and it doesn't look good. All right, so I'm just going to get back out of the 3D camera view. So also, well, let me go, wait a minute. All right, let me go back in here. I'm just gonna also go back in the 3D view. Also, you see that there's several different elements here. The robot, then you have your security guard, and at the back, the sun is also, or I should say the moon, is a key player back there. See, so when I scroll forward, you'll see it's just like hands on a clock. Each has a particular function, little hand, big hand, and maybe the minute hand, if you have one of those kind of old school clocks. And you see that all comes together that way. So this is important because now it's the very first thing that the audience sees. And of course, with camera effects and some things from After Effects, you can really get some really good animation to capture to get going with the storyline. That's very important. So I just want to bring that out, and this is my very first project here as far as using this great background from Dicho, if I'm saying it right, D-I-C-H-O. And it's something that I think all this together really makes it good to use Cartoon Animator 4. And along with Reolution, they have so many different things. And we're happy as animators that we have these tools that we could work with. Next we have, this is the conference room scene. And you'll see as you come in, you'll see that he looks a little bit transparent. And as I'm moving him forward, he reappears. So how exactly do you do that? Well, of course, Cartoon Animator 4 Pro has you covered, because what takes place is, the way this is done is through the opacity. So when I select him, right, it's selected, and you take a look at the opacity up here, you'll see that it'll drop, right, as it moves forward, and as it moves backwards, he goes back in. So before you even do the opacity, right, when you select the character, you got to position him first. So you go to your motion editor, motion key editor, click on, and you see, I've got him positioned here first. So once he's positioned and you give him some animation, he'll be able to have that effect of like popping in and out. Just all of a sudden he appears. And that's also true when it comes to all the people at the conference room, right? So if I click on anybody in the conference room, like this gentleman here, and also go to the motion key editor, you'll see, there we go. You'll see that his neck and his whole body is moving. So when the character comes in, and then when he drops, you'll see he'll look down. And that goes for everybody. And that's interesting because, again, Cartoon Animator 4 has you covered. and it's a great effect. And again, we talked about the 3D, right? You make sure nothing is colliding, and you have that all set, good to go. It's a great effect and a great program. Here's the last part of the video, almost the last part. And you'll see as I scroll through, Apocalypse Guy falls down, Mayhem falls down, and the guy in the house is looking. First, let me go back up for a second. He looks at her fall down, right? And then he looks over at Apocalypse Guy. And then as we scroll through, you see him yell. And the guy in the background kind of sinks behind the fence. So all of this shows the actual power of Cartoon Animator 4 Pro. Well, how? Well, very simple. Because you can do all these things and it looks seamless. And it gives a very good impression to a client, or if you're just doing it for fun. So let's go back here. I'm going to start from the beginning again. And you notice all these people that are falling, Apocalypse Guy and Mayhem, they're all above the actual scene, right? I'll put them back up there, right? They're all above the actual scene. So now, before they get up there, what you have to do, I'll just freeze Mayhem. And I said Mayhem, right? I'm saying Mayhem. It's Mayday. Excuse me, Mayday. You right click and you'll do, all right, you do the motion key. In the motion key, everything is positioned first. That's the first thing. And then you do the bounce. Okay. The most difficult part, I think, that for me to do this one, between Mayhem and, I should say Mayday and Apocalypse Guy, is because there's a double bounce on Apocalypse. She's also a double bounce. And you notice when she's finished, she stops yelling and she looks around first. And the guy behind that comes out of the house, he's yelling. And the guy behind the fence, he's got his mouth open, he's scared, right? And then she looks at the camera. So Cartoon Animator 4 has all of these assets ready to go. Gary Pye did this background, tremendous background. Makes the project easy. And it makes it so that you can follow along at the same time, have a very professional effect.